Hey guys, it is that time. It is time for another theory information update video, and I am doing this face cam format again. Enough of you guys did like it that I did feel like it would be worth it to try to streamline the process a little bit and do it again. It's going to be a little bit of trial and error, and I'm not going to be doing this a whole lot, so that'll come few and far between, but I do think that we can get this format to a point that from now on, whenever I do one of these theory information update videos where I talk about how the show has impacted one of my new theories, we will be able to do it in this format. And I know a lot of you are probably going to find that kind of annoying because you don't like the whole face cam thing, but let's be perfectly honest here, these information update videos are not my most watched videos anyway. And this format for them is just a little bit easier for me in general, and it allows me to reallocate time that I would have spent making a full-fledged video just to update some of my other videos towards actually making more actual videos. And if there are more jumps today than usual in the video, that's because there's a huge amount of road work going on literally right outside my house, and I don't have enough anything in here to block out that sound and keep it from getting in, so I'm going to have to stop periodically and wait for the loudest of the sounds to stop, and I'm a little annoyed by it, but that's just how it goes, I guess. First of all, a couple of updates. I have had a weird couple of weeks. This last week more so than the one before it, but a weird couple of weeks. Not bad, not difficult, just weird. Things just never seem to work out how I planned them. And I had planned to getting back to doing reviews of older Steven Universe episodes that I haven't covered yet, so that I can catch up with the most recent run of reviews, starting with Nightmare Hospital, I think, all the way up through the most recent episode, get the entire series caught up, and then that way I can start reviewing other shows. Stuff like Gravity Falls or Star vs. the Forces of Evil is another one that people wanted to see me review. So I had planned to start doing an additional review each week of an older Steven Universe episode, and it just hasn't been panning out, and right now we're in a bit of a hiatus again. The next episode, I don't even think the air date has been announced yet, and I don't expect this to be a really long hiatus, but that does mean we're going to get a couple of weeks in there where there aren't going to be any new episodes for me to review, so I am going to be doing 2 episode reviews a week of older episodes until new episodes start, except for this week. This week I'm actually going to be doing 4, or rather 3, because one of them is a double review, of The Message all the way up to The Return and Jailbreak, which I know is one that a lot of you have been looking forward to seeing me talk about, so I just wanted to get it out there. The Return and Jailbreak review will be up this week. Maybe Thursday, depending on how quickly I can finish writing it and get it filmed and whatnot, but probably Friday. All that said, we've got our trusty handy-dandy list of Summer of Steven episodes up again. See, Summer of Steven. And we're going to go through some of these. We left off at Monster Reunion last time, which is actually probably a little more than halfway through the list, the more I was thinking about it, because there's a lot of interesting tidbits in a lot of these episodes, but very few of those tidbits actually affected past theories of mine. Of course, let's get the big one out of the way right away. The big pink diamond reveal, which took place over the course of Earthlings, Back to the Moon, and Bubbled, with it happening in Back to the Moon specifically, the reveal itself, affected not just my theories on Pink Diamond, but everybody's theories on Pink Diamond. It's now 100% obvious, 100% clear that Rose could not be Pink Diamond. It's just not possible. I don't even understand how people can still speculate that she's somehow Pink Diamond at this point. Of course they are. I don't get it. Whatever. Moving on. But we also know, and this is something that people had been speculating for a long time, that Rose had either killed or captured Pink Diamond, and that's why she's not part of the Diamond Authority now. And now we know for sure that that is definitely what happened. We have Eyeball as an eyewitness, so to speak. I like how they now have they each have their own pages. It's very, very cool on the wiki, of course, because like I said, I do use the wiki as the start to my research in my videos. When I'm researching stuff from the show itself, when I'm researching other stuff, I of course use Yahoo. No, I'm kidding. I use Google like everybody else. Anyway. Eyeball saw what happened to Pink Diamond and specifically mentioned seeing her get shattered That's another thing you can expect from these videos, is more of me stammering. And a lot of people keep saying, oh, we can't trust Eyeball because the rubies aren't all that reliable anyway, they're not that smart. Yeah, but I would imagine that Eyeball isn't the only one who witnessed this. Why would Pink Diamond, Rose, and Eyeball be the only people in the room when this happened? I'd imagine that Eyeball Ruby was one of several rubies in the room, since rubies do seem to act in groups, and that it was her and all of the other rubies that saw what happened. And yeah, one eyewitness can be unreliable, but multiple eyewitnesses all tell you the same thing, that they saw a gem get shattered, supports that gem being shattered. And I know we haven't personally heard from those other eyewitnesses, but I would imagine Homeworld has corroborated the story and made it official, and now Eyeball is backing up that official story with her eyewitness testimony. Realize she's telling this story with someone who she thinks is Jasper in the same room with her. She's not going to mess this story up. So we now know what happened to Pink Diamond. Pink Diamond was shattered by Rose. There is some speculation out there that it wasn't actually Rose, but regardless of whether it was Rose or not specifically, it was definitely a gem that looked like Rose, and Pink Diamond was definitely shattered. So all of the theories about Pink Diamond possibly being Rose, about where Pink Diamond could be if she's not dead, they're just either corroborated or completely disproven by the events in these episodes. You just kind of have to go theory by theory to tell which. And we got a lot of cool lore stuff in a bunch of these episodes, but the next one that really affects any of my theories was Bismuth, which if you watched my review of Bismuth, you know I was a little disappointed by it. I thought that it was a little more exposition heavy than I was hoping, and less about the character herself. Thankfully, though, that exposition did tell us a lot of stuff. Most interestingly, that it was Bismuth who made all of the material weapons that the crystal gems used, and they do specifically say all of them. So every weapon that the crystal gems used during the war that wasn't a summoned weapon, because Bismuth does confirm that Pearl eventually started using her summoned spear instead of physical swords at some point. All of those weapons, including Rose's sword, including Pearl's swords, were all made by Bismuth, which explains why they were so much more durable than what human weapons would have been at the time. Because I had kind of speculated that humans made the weapons for the gems using gem materials, and that's why they were more durable than they should have been. But no, it was just Bismuth made them using gem materials. But I still think there is a human involvement here. The theory that this specifically affects, by the way, is my theory that humans fought with the gems during the war, which I still think they did. This doesn't disprove it, it just changes my perspective on some of the pieces of evidence that I included in the video. That being that humans made Pearl's swords, and possibly Rose's sword as well, and I don't know that I specifically ever said that in the video, but that's what my thought was. I still think, though, there is a human involvement in the production of these material weapons, because we hear that Bismuth made the choice to become a blacksmith rather than a construction worker after she met Rose on Earth. She was on Earth when she made the decision. What if gems just don't forge weapons in general? What if they just don't do it? What if it's not something they do? And Bismuth, when she saw humans forging crude weapons, decided that she wanted to do that too, using better materials, and that's why she made the choice to become a blacksmith specifically. It's all just speculation, but I think it's possible. Point is, the weapons that the gems used during the war, the material weapons, did not come from humans. That's the part of my theory that changes. Some of the stuff we learned in beta, and maybe a little bit in earlings, I don't really remember, but I think just beta is going to affect my timeline of the Civil War era, which I am going to update soon in its own video, so I'm not going to talk about that here. Bubbled gave me an idea of some more of the capabilities of Steven's gem itself, which I'm also going to talk about elsewhere, so I'm not going to talk about that here. Kindergarten Kid, the final episode out of all of these episodes that I want to talk about with you guys here. A lot of you keep saying, I wouldn't have even talked about this because I actually don't think this affects the theory at all, but I just want to get this out there. A lot of you have been saying in the comments of my theory about whether or not it was the crystal gems who invented bubbling, that the fact that Peridot bubbles a gem in Kindergarten Kid disproves my theory. What I think a lot of you are doing is looking at the title of the theory, which is just, can all gems bubble, and assuming that that was the point of the entire video, which it kind of was, but it also kind of wasn't. That was just a really short, concise title that I thought would fit best in the title bar. No, the point of the video is to speculate as to whether or not it was Rose, and by extension the crystal gems, who created and then perfected the technique of bubbling other gems, and Peridot bubbling a gem doesn't disprove that at all. Peridot spent I don't know, months on Earth with the crystal gems. I don't know how long specifically it was. It's hard to tell. But at least a couple of months on Earth with the crystal gems. She saw the bubbles in the temple. Let's assume that she didn't know what bubbles were until she saw the bubbles in the temple, which is something that I've also speculated about. Of course, she would have asked about it. She's Peridot. They would have explained it to her at some point off screen, because they wouldn't have needed to explain it to her on screen, because we've already had bubbles explained to us on screen. And then, knowing that she was going on her first corrupted gem capture mission, there it is, okay. She would have asked more about bubbling and how it is performed. Or the other gems would have just thought to explain it to her before the mission started. And remember, Steven learned how to bubble just by watching the other gems do it. It's clearly not something that has to be actually shown and taught. Clearly you can learn it simply through observation. Or perhaps even through the knowledge that it's possible, as it seems the cluster did. And remember, after she makes the bubble, she's unclear what to do with it. She looks to Steven so that he can explain to her what to do with the bubble now, because she doesn't know, as if she is still in the process of being taught how bubbles work. I think that this scene in this episode is actually the best evidence in the show so far to support my theory. I'm looking for a mic to drop, but unfortunately the only one I have is this one, and I need it, and as Greg said, they're expensive, so. And that's it, guys. That covers all of the episodes from the Stevennuke as they pertain to my theories. That bird is just not going to shut up, is it? There are, of course, going to be more episodes of the show, so there are going to be more videos like this in the future. But I wouldn't expect another one anytime soon, so next week we will be getting back to regular theories. And I actually have quite a doozy for you. I'm putting off the Origin of Gems theory for another week, so that I can focus on this one, but I think it's one that you're going to really enjoy. It's a little bit more speculative than some of my stuff, but it's also pretty freaking interesting. That said, this has been AJ22, and I will talk to you guys later.